Do you know you can manufacture experience? And I'm not saying lie, do a skills assessment. What skills do you have? The thing that is going to make you valuable in the marketplace is the kind of skills you have. But then we also have what we call informal experience. And when it comes to NGOs, this really plays a big part. It is how you communicate it. Have you worked as a volunteer? Have you worked in a community? Have you been a leader of women ministry in church? Have you been helping in a certain children's home? Have you interacted with maybe victims of war, refugees? You volunteered, even if it's a few hours. I went to the UN Careers website. These are the different categories of staff at the United Nations. I can assure you, just coming in and watching this video, by the end of this training, you will become more employable in the NGO sector. And once you get a job in the NGO sector, I can assure you, you will have increased your earning potential. You will be able to earn more. This is the importance of you staying through the Q&A session, because some people ask questions that you had not thought of, and it becomes a light bulb moment for you. Probably that is the one single combination that you needed to unlock it. Today, in this training, where I'll be sharing with you how you can be able to transition from private sector, from maybe manufacturing or government or whichever sector that you're in, and join the humanitarian world, NGO jobs. The 5 steps that I'm going to take you through, and I'm looking forward you learning and also engaging in this conversation. So if you're ready to get started, drop in the chat and say, yes, I'm ready. So we are here to learn, how do you transition to NGO jobs? Securing an NGO job, even if you are a beginner. And you can be a beginner because you are trying to transition from your field. You're already experienced professional, but getting into the NGO world, you're a beginner. Or you can also be a beginner in the sense that you have just graduated. You don't have much of experience. So you're starting off looking for a job. How do you get there? Everything is going to be covered in this training session. And I want to start by saying that I got this quote here from Christine Kane saying, sometimes when you are in a dark place, you think you have been buried, but you have actually been planted. And if you are in a space where you're feeling like things are not really working out, I am trying to look for a job left, right, center, and nothing seems to be coming out. I think I've been buried. I can't be seen. I have some good news for you. You have just been planted. And it is when you are in that dark place that you grow stronger, you become resilient, and finally you pop up and grow and become much bigger. So do not be discouraged. I've already seen some comments, people saying that it is difficult to get into NGOs. It is competitive, not difficult, or it is not that it is impossible. It's just competitive, and knowing what I'm going to teach you today, the 5 steps that you need to follow, will actually give you some insight, and you can see some doors opening. Our mission is to make people more employable and to increase their earning potential. And I can assure you, just coming in and watching this video, by the end of this training, you will become more employable in the NGO sector. And once you get a job in the NGO sector, I can assure you, you will have increased your earning potential. You will be able to earn more. So step number 1, if you really want to transition into the NGO world, it is for you to understand how NGOs operate. Just like any other business, NGOs, they have all these departments or these sectors. They have accounting, they have management, some have fundraising, operations, marketing, logistics, public relation, business development, human relation, product development, legal, IT, you name it, human resource, everything. And this is to assure you that whichever career path that you have taken, whichever position or experience you have, it is still valuable in the NGO world. Don't feel as if you're restricted because, oh, I did my degree in education. Can a teacher really get a job in NGOs? Yes. And I will show you how. Don't feel restricted. Oh, I'm in banking. I did finance. What is my role in NGOs? There's still a department for you. And again, understanding also what kind of what is their mission, what are they out there to do, will really guide you. Now, I just picked some examples here. I went to the UN Careers website, and I know I talk a lot about NGO jobs and UN. And question is, do you really understand how it works? So the career options from their page, there are these 5 main categories that they say. These are the different categories of staff at the United Nations. Professional and higher category. This is what they call grade D and P and D. There's general service and related categories. There's national professional officers, there's field officers, and also there's senior appointments. If you scroll down, you will be able to even read in details who fall in this category called professional and higher category. They need language professionals. They also have option. There's this young professionals program. Are you just starting out? Do you meet the criteria or what they are looking for? They have another program they call Junior Professional Officer Program, Field Service, National Professional Officers, General Service and related category. There's consultants and individual contractors. Yeah, I think I've done also another video talking about how you can be a contractor or a consultant. They have the internship program, they have the volunteering program, they have temporary jobs, they have senior appointment jobs. It is you to take time to read through and now say, where do I fit in? The first step is you understanding how they operate. I did another, I was still doing my research. Save the Children is another NGO. And as you see, these are the jobs that they have listed, but something that can guide you. Look at this section where they talk about departments. They have a department of advocacy, campaigns, and policy. They have a department for business support, business transformation, finance, funding, human resource, monitoring, evaluation, accountability, and learning. They have a department of program operations, program development and quality, security, and supply chain. So if you're in procurement, if you are in logistics, do you see where you fall? So really understand what they're looking out for. I also took this screenshot today as I was doing my research for the presentation. World Vision is another big international NGO. These are the different sections that they have, or we can call them departments: advocacy, child participation, child protection, child rights and equality, clean water, climate change. I think I saw somebody commented and say they are water engineer or something. Yeah. Disaster management, economic department, economic development. There's education. Are you a teacher? Are you in the education space? NGO World Vision has some space for you. Emergencies, faith and development. Are you? Did you take theology? Can you see how you can fit in? Food assistance. Did you do food technology? Are you in that line? Social responsibility, peace building, nutrition, health. I don't know which are these down here. It might be urban, and I need to check. But go to their website, see these departments. So the first step, before I go to the second step, is to really get yourself familiar with how the NGOs operate. You can decide to do an overview, like I just picked 3: the UN, there's Save the Children, and also World Vision. You can decide, probably there are certain NGOs that you're really aligned to, or you really want to join them. Do some research, just go to their website, see how do they operate, what departments do they have, and how do I fall in. And I can assure you, irrespective of whichever course, irrespective of whichever experience you have, you can find yourself a place. Probably not in one NGO, the other. Probably not in all of them, but 1 or 2 will still be able to accommodate you with your experience, with your skills, with your qualification, with your certification. Are we together? So that is step number 1, understanding how they operate. Then we go to step number 2. What do you want? And I'll pause and ask you that question. What do you want? Are you clear on what you want? And I'll show you how this falls into place in this job search. or transition to NGOs. Find out, ask yourself some of these questions. What do you want to achieve as an individual in your career line? What would you want to achieve? What are you passionate about? What really excites you? What are some, because in the line of work, there are some things you do that really excite you and some things that just suck the energy out of you. So what really excites you? What kind of impact would you want to see in the world? What kind of change do you want to be part of and say, I am proud that I was part of this change in the world? Is it environment? Is it climate change? Is it empowering women and children? Is it, ask yourself, what kind of impact would you want to see? What would you like to spend your life doing? And this is important because most people wake up, they dread waking up, going to a job they hate, and they spend a bigger chunk of their life between, I don't know, 25 to about 60 by the time they're retiring, doing things they don't like, they hate, or they don't enjoy. And by the time they get to retirement, they're like, I'm just looking forward to retirement. That shouldn't be you. So do a little bit of self-reflection and answer some or all of these questions. Then from there, the reason why this is important is that when you take time to understand what motivates you and what will give you job satisfaction, when you take that time, you are most likely to get the right fit job. Take time, understand what motivates you and what gives you job satisfaction. Because I believe we all have a calling. And if we find our calling and we are working within that space that we are called to do, we don't have any problem with motivation. We don't have a problem with job satisfaction. We are right in what we were called to do. So that is really important. This will help you to narrow down and say, let me start looking for NGOs that work probably with children, that work with refugees. I find myself more inclined in the education section. I want to be associated with NGOs that deal with something to do with the environment, girls and women, vulnerable groups like maybe orphans or people who are not well off economically, victims of war. Probably you're passionate about animals, so you'll be inclined to look for jobs in NGOs that deal with animals, people with disabilities, or elderly people. This is very important because I don't believe we just look for a job for the sake of looking for a job. It is important for us to do something that really matters. And only when you are able to get to that point where you're doing something that matters, I can tell you payment is not an issue, motivation is not an issue. You can do something for free because you're passionate about, but I'm not talking about you getting a job for free. Imagine being paid, doing what you love, and having an impact in the world at the same time. Would that be lovely? Imagine being paid doing what you love. That is what I am focusing on. Seeing that there is an opportunity for you out there, it is probably you being able to identify what you want. Why are most NGOs, why do they need degrees while most of us have diplomas? By the way, not all of them need degrees. Not all of them. There's some that still need diploma, but it depends with the position also. MCA Kelly, I'm going to be a bit hard on you, but I want you to take this with a lot of love. I'm saying this with love, and I am trying to also help you. Probably this is a story that you have been telling yourself. And that story makes up the excuse why probably you do not apply for as many as you should or look for NGOs as you should, because at the end of it, they look for people with degrees. Is that really true? Is it all NGOs? I can see you're saying most jobs, but is it, what is most jobs? And those ones that don't ask for degree, have you applied for them? Have you done the due diligence? Have you done the application correct? Do we have people who are working with NGOs even in certain senior positions that don't have a degree. So I want to challenge you to change that story and start seeing what is possible. And later on, as I discuss, I can jump several steps into my presentation, but still I would say, if that is so, because at some point you will need to do some analysis and ask yourself, is this degree the only thing that is holding me back? If so, how then do I get it and start seeing what is possible for you? So probably this is a story you've been telling yourself. Stop telling yourself that story and flip the script and see what is possible with what you have in your hands. Is it Moses who, for those who are religious, I think, I don't remember exactly the story in the Bible, but I think God asked him, what do you have in your hands? And he had a staff and he was told, use that. We all have something at our disposal, and that is what we can use to start the journey. It might not be adequate. It might be the diploma is not adequate to get to that dream job, to that senior position, but it can get you inside there and then use what is in your hands. Hope you got it, right? Step number 3. Now, we have understood how these NGOs operate. We have looked at their departments. We have seen what they do. We have done some self-reflection. We have asked ourselves, what is it that we want? What motivates us? What kind of NGOs do we want to work with? Then the next thing is to find out what you have versus what is needed. Yeah, what is needed. I think there was some typo there. What is needed, right? And Eric, also this part really would answer your question. So the first thing, when you're reflecting, what do I have? What do I have? First thing is, do a skills assessment. What skills do you have? The thing that is going to make you valuable in the marketplace is the kind of skills you have. We have soft skills. These are skills that cut across all the kind of professions. If you're engineering, you are accountant, you are things like communication, leadership, communication, did I say that? Presentation, time management. These are soft skills. Then we have hard skills. You're an accountant doing accounting stuff. You are an IT person doing that IT thing. You are, which other field? Teaching. You are human resource, public relation. Those are the hard skills. Ask yourself, what do I have? What kind of skills do I have? Yeah. The other area you can look at, what are my strengths and what are my weaknesses? What can I say I am bringing on board? This is what I'm really good at. When I get to do this, I put very little effort and I excel. What are my weaknesses? What are some of the things that are holding me back? How can I outsource? How can I minimize my weaknesses? That is what you have. You really need to do that. Also, what do you have? What are you bringing on board? It is the experience. And we have both formal experience, and this is where things really get interesting. There's formal experience. I've worked in company A, B, C, D in this role. This is what I was doing. I have 2, 3, 5, 10 years of experience. But then we also have what we call informal experience. And when it comes to NGOs, this really plays a big part. It is how you communicate it. Informal experience would be something like, have you worked as a volunteer? Have you worked in a community? Have you been a leader of women ministry in church? Have you been helping in a certain children's home? Have you interacted with maybe people who have maybe victims of war, refugees? Have you volunteered, even if it's a few hours? Yeah. This informal experience, you should be able to really think through and see what areas in your life. Have you been a leader? Have you been, even in your social life, maybe you are, I don't know, a youth leader or a football captain or whatever things that you do, and then see, how can I craft a story and communicate this as valuable information? Because I want to get a job in this NGO that, let's say, deals with children or women, girls and women. I think World Vision is a big one in that space. But I volunteered in this community where I've been serving this and this. I was in whichever. Think about anything and see, how can I put this informal experience in a more professional way? And then it will give me an edge. You get it? So experience, both formal and informal, is very important. Also, when you're asking yourself, now, this is what I have, what is needed? What is needed on the other side? Key skills, competencies, qualifications, and experience. Where do you get this information? It is from the job description. And I'm going to do a simple demonstration, yeah, and do a bit of analysis. Now, this is a job for an administrative assistant, which is a G5 position, UNEP. It is an old position, and I did that intentionally just to show you that even if there is no vacancy in your space right now, you can still use previous jobs that have been posted to do this section of it. So you can see it was posted in October to November 2023. So this is the job that was posted on our website. And so we are trying to analyze and see what is it that they are looking for. So this is an administrative assistant job. I can read through the responsibilities. And so this is what is needed. Someone who can provide support on divisions, human resource management, someone who can provide support in general administration. Then it is there in details, what that involves, competencies. They're looking for someone who is professional, ability to perform a broad range of administrative functions, budgeting, human resource, database management, all that. Another competency, they're looking for accountability, someone who is able to take ownership of all responsibilities and honor commitments. They're also looking someone who is client-oriented. Consider all those to whom service are provided to be clients and seek to see things from client's point of view. And it is there in details. In terms of qualification, what is it that they want? Completion of a high school diploma or equivalent, training in administration, general office support, and related areas. They have now, when it comes to experience, someone with a responsible experience in finance, budget, administrative services, someone with some experience in data analytics or related field is desired. For languages, they want English and French. And they also say, please note, these are the two main UN languages. Fluency is important. You can be able to read, write, and speak, understand, all that. And then there will be an assessment. So if you are in that space of admin jobs, you can look and say, do I fit into this? Yeah. And don't only look for one job. Do the same for a job. Maybe you are a procurement person. What does a procurement person in UN need to have? What does a procurement person in Save the Children, World Vision, all those NGOs, yeah? Just, I'm saying as they come on top of my head. Do some analysis. See, what is it that they have? Once you do that, once you are able to see what is it that they want, then ask yourself, do I have that kind of skill? Do I have those competencies? Do I have those qualifications? Then how do you communicate that to them? That is the most important bit. And this is where most people miss out. Like the informal experience, very few people are able to communicate that to the employers because they don't know how to do it. And this is what I call career hacking. There are four main things that you will need to communicate your value. And these are some of the services that we also offer. Number one, you communicate that using a professional CV, not just any other CV, but a professional CV. Check in my channel on YouTube, just search professional CV, Daniel Mutuku. You'll see what is the difference between a normal CV or just a CV and a professional CV. You are able to communicate your value, that this is what you're looking for. I have it, using a cover letter. And more specifically, for those jobs on when you're applying, you need to have it right there on your cover letter. The other place that you use to communicate your value is LinkedIn. How is your LinkedIn profile? Is it professionally done? If someone is doing job hunting and they've landed on your LinkedIn profile, what will they see? Is it able to communicate that value, what they are looking for, the competencies, the qualification, the skills? Are they able to see that? And if Probably you do your application right, you're invited for an interview. When you still go to an interview, are you still able to communicate your value? So these 4 things is what you need to have in your job search toolkit: a professional CV, cover letter, LinkedIn profile, and interview coaching. And I think I have done several videos talking about the value of this, maybe one for each session. So here I'll pause and say this. If you really want to be good at communicating your value, I want to invite you to send us your CV for a free review. So number 1, we offer free CV review. But on top of that, we also offer professional CV writing. And these are our packages. If this is your first time to be with us, allow me to put this link. Yeah. Write this down. Go submit your CV at careerpoint.co.ke/CV review. We will review your CV and then we'll tell you this is what needs to be done. And if you want us to write a professional CV for you, these are the packages that we normally have. The basic package will give you a professional CV and sample cover letters. The price will range between 1,000 Kenya shillings to about 3,000, or $10 to about $30. We will tell you in your case, this is how much it will cost. To the advanced, let's say the standard package, you get a professional CV, sample cover letter, and a LinkedIn profile guide. Charges will range 2,000 Kenya shillings to about 6,000 Kenya shillings. In dollars, because I know I have international audience here, about $20 to about $60. Yeah. And advance, if you want to go to the advanced package, it will range again 3,000 to 6,000 Kenya shillings, or $30 to $60. But we can communicate that. The first thing, it starts by you submitting your CV for a free review. We'll give you the review free of charge. But if you want to proceed with professional CV writing, that is the discussion that we can be able to have. Yeah. Hopefully, I thought it was good for me to mention that as I proceed. So you have understood what they want. You have also looked at what you have, and you can be able to offer that, then communicate it the right way. Patrick, you're saying they almost insist on NGO experience. That is step number 5. I'll tell you where you can get that experience. Do you know you can manufacture experience? And I'm not saying lie. Hang on in there, Patrick. I'll tell you where you get that experience. Step number 4, get the most valuable skills. Now, what you realize, and this is a secret I'm stealing for you. Most NGOs do run programs, and there are certain valuable skills that they are looking for. You might be an accountant with your skills. You might be a finance expert, as you say, but there are certain skills when you get, it becomes easy to transition to the NGOs. And that is one of the reasons that we here at Career Point Solutions, we offer these courses. These are online certifications that we offer. That is project management, project monitoring and evaluation, strategic management and leadership, fundraising and resource mobilization. With this kind of skills, getting a job with NGO becomes easy. And I'll prove to you. Now, you can get one of these certifications. They are done online. The total cost is 24,999, or you can pay in 3 monthly installments. We can discuss about that, how you can join. If you're international, again, it is in US dollars, just 249, and you pay through PayPal or your card. Let me prove to you that this works. Now, this is a conversation that took place this week. Is it this week or yes, this week or towards the end? Look here. This is January 12, 2024. That should be, is it this week or last week? Around, I think it is Friday. Yes, last week on Friday. We are here live on this lady called Joanne Cherotich saying, hello, Daniel. I did project management, monitor evaluation back in 2021. She was asking for her certificates. I told her, hello, Joanne, find attach your certificate. So I attached, I sent the certificate. That was at 2, I sent at 3. Then comes Sunday. Was it Sunday? Saturday? I think so. I'm losing my count, but you can check. On 14th, this is what she said. Hello, Daniel. I can't thank you enough for your prompt reply. You saved the interview. I am very glad to let you know that I got the job as a finance administrative assistant. I will be reporting on 16th January. Thank you so much. She reported this week on Monday. As in, when I was preparing my presentation, I was like, I didn't cook this up. I mean, it just fell in my lap. And that is to show you there are certain skills that are of very much value. And if you get them, getting a job with the NGOs become super easy. And this is just proof. And there's so many other emails that I normally get of people who say, yeah, you helped me. I did that certification. It made the difference. And finally, once you have been able to identify the skills they are looking for, you have gotten those valuable skills. Now, the next thing is to get experience. And you can be able to get that experience through volunteering. And this is one of the best ways. I'm looking for that comment. Patrick, where do you get the experience? This is where you get the experience. And I'll just show you, it is so simple. Something that you can start doing this week, like from tomorrow, and get the experience, right? So you find that most NGOs, by far, the most common method of gaining sustainable or suitable experience for work in NGOs is by simply volunteering for one. By far, the most common method of gaining suitable experience for work in an NGO is by simply volunteering for one. And I can tell you, you'll ask, where do I get this volunteer? Sometimes these volunteering opportunities, it might be just several hours that you volunteer. It doesn't need to be like a full-time job. It can be 1 hour per week. And you just put it in your CV in a way that shows I've been volunteering in this community or in this NGO or in this space. And that shows you have the experience. You know how it works. Now, I'll give you a personal story. I tried to look for a photo way back when I was starting looking for a job. And I don't know if you've heard of this story of how I got my first job. Now, I had come for an interview here in Nairobi, and it was a teaching job through this organization called Regiotech that had a program called Computer for Schools Project. They were looking for computer teachers. And I remember getting to the interview. I came in early, but the person who was interviewing me came a bit late. And the secretary decided, let me interview this person. It seemed the boss is coming very late. I can't see him. The moment she was about to organize now for the interview, the boss came in. And when the boss came in, said, I'm sorry, I was late. Where's that interviewer? It was me. Come in. I follow him into the office. Halfway into the office, he turns around, looks at me, and asks me, have you taught? No, he asked me, can you teach? And I said, yes, I can teach. He looked at me and said, are you sure you can teach? I told him, I have taught before and I can teach. He ended up calling the secretary and asked, do you know this person? No. This guy just got a job. And that is how he was telling me I got a job. So, had I taught before? Yes. Was it on an official setting? Not really. Guess what? Immediately I finished my Form 4, I taught my mom computers. So if he asked, where did you teach computers? Probably I would have told him, I taught my mom. Do you see the difference? When I finished my college, I volunteered in, it was like a children's home, but they were also running school, whereby I would go there 2 hours per week or 3 hours, or even an hour per day to help with the children. It was a children's home, to clean them, to guide them, to supervise them. And I would teach the basic maths or science, my area. And that, if I was asked, where did you get your experience teaching? That was it. It was not the formal experience that I'm talking of, but it is that volunteering that gave me that confidence to look my former boss, Mr. George Owiti, straight into the eye and told him that I have taught before and I can teach. And that is how I got my job. Does it start making sense? So can you be able to document? And in today's day and age, it is easy to create a portfolio and document your experience and your volunteering 2 hours, 3 hours in a week, or even 1 hour per week. And if you do it consistently, 1 month, 2 months down the line, you will have the confidence to put in your CV that you have experience. You have volunteered with ABCD NGO. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. So I thought it would be good just to share my personal story. As much as I was not getting a job in an NGO, this was a project and I ended up getting the job. So I was trying to look for a photo when I was back. I think, I don't know if at the time I was still working there, but probably then. About 2009, yeah? Not 14 years ago. Whoa, it's been a while, yeah? NGOs are always looking for volunteers, eager to learn and who are committed to their work. Do you know NGOs, they are looking for volunteers because they have so much on their plate. They might not be able to pay everyone, but in any NGO, especially international organizations, they're looking for volunteers. When I went to this children's home, I don't know, they did have a position. They had children, they had limited staff, and when they had that there's some extra hands coming in, they were very much willing to welcome me. And that is how I started off. So how do I know that NGOs are looking for volunteers? They have a dedicated website, like the UN have a dedicated website for UN volunteers. And if you go to UN volunteers, that is, I think, unv.org, you get all the information. How do you volunteer? You can be able to volunteer online. You can be able to volunteer on site. You can also be able to volunteer abroad. Think, where are you at? What are your commitments? Are you currently working? Can you be able to volunteer a few hours? Check what the UN has to offer in terms of volunteership. Another one, these are, when I'm doing research, just website, children, Save the Children, how to volunteer with Save the Children. They have a whole website with a lot of content on how you can be able to be a volunteer. And this is to confirm to you that they are always looking for volunteers. Have you tried to volunteer? Maybe a few hours a week and get that experience and be able to communicate that you have worked there. That is the most important thing. Is that okay? So allow me just to pause here and let you know, you can be able to get most of this information. We have WhatsApp community. As much as it grows and we have reached the limit, but some people leave and we are able to get space. So I want you to write that down. Join our WhatsApp community. Just go to careerpoint.co.ke/WhatsApp. On your browser, it will direct you straight on our WhatsApp group. You can join. And because WhatsApp normally has limits on how big the group can be, we are now moving to Telegram. So if you don't have a Telegram app, download it just for the purpose of you getting a job. And the good thing with Telegram, we can have a group up to 200,000 people. So I don't know if we can really max that, but yes, go to careerpoint.co.ke/Telegram. So just write that down. You can easily do that on your phone, on the browser, and then it will direct you to the app itself. And if you don't have, you can just download for the purposes of you getting a job. This is a group where people ask questions. You get experts who will provide some answers. I usually jump in to answer questions. People share opportunities. People are able to engage, and you'll be able to learn more and more. Is that okay? Also, I want to say this. I run several career coaching programs. And if you're really feeling stuck, if you really don't know how to jump from private or from whatever you're doing into the NGO world, I invite you to join me in the Career Jumpstart Coaching Challenge. It's a coaching challenge where I am going to assure you that through this challenge, it will take your career to the next level. You can still get in touch with me. By the way, let me share my email if you want to know more about that. And then I'm going to answer your questions. This is the importance of you staying through the Q&A session. Because in the Q&A session, some people ask questions that you had not thought of. And it becomes a light bulb moment for you. Probably that is the one single combination that you needed to unlock your lock. So don't take for granted that we have finished the training. Now we are going to Q&A. What value is it going to add to me? Stay long enough. I want to bring in these two questions. Already had received this question. So this is a question from Zippy. This is from our WhatsApp community. She asked, hello, Daniel, is it okay to apply for a job where you do not have the required years of experience, but you have all the relevant documents and qualification? And my answer is yes. It is okay for you to go ahead and apply. My advice is, if you read a job description, if you read the JD, ask yourself, is this JD describing me? If yes, go ahead and apply. If no, but it is describing you 70%, at least 70%, that is you, go ahead and apply. So for ZP, if the only thing you don't have is that level of experience, maybe you have 3 years of experience and they're looking for 5, go ahead and apply. You will be surprised how many you get. Again, this is a personal story. I remember when I was still looking for a job, I had applied for this job. I was surprised they called me for an interview. I had no experience in sales and marketing, but they still called me for an interview. Why? Because they looked at my qualification. They saw I had the technical knowledge, but hadn't done any sales. I didn't get that job because I didn't even know how to sell myself during that interview. I was that bad. Back to 208 or 201, back then. Yeah. So don't hesitate. Sometimes they get the qualified person with those experience, but they are not able to pay them. So they fall back to someone who has that. This is the reason why I was saying it is important to stay. So this happened in the group. Jackie asked, hello, I need to upgrade my CV to ATS friendly. Who can help me with that? Of course, we do. I can help her. We do CVs that are ATS friendly. Then Shazia Malik asked, what does ATS mean? Had he not been in the community, he wouldn't have known that there's something called ATS friendly CVs. I went ahead and explained to him, is it him or her? And they were able to get the value. ATS stands for Application Tracking System. And that is what NGOs and recruiters are using. So is your CV ATS friendly? Send your CV for a free review.